The unexpected inheritance. Maya Chen stared at the letter in her hands, the official seal of Orion Legal Services gleaming under her apartment's harsh lighting. 5 years at NASA's propulsion lab, and all she had to show for it was a cramped studio apartment and a growing collection of rejection letters for her theoretical drive designs. And now this, news of an uncle she barely remembered, dead, and apparently leaving her something in his will. Uncle Elias, she muttered, trying to recall the few times she'd met the eccentric man when she was a child. Her parents had always been tight-lipped about him, describing him only as involved in classified research when she'd asked. The family photos that included him were few and always showed him slightly turned away from the camera, as if uncomfortable being documented. The address on the letter led her to an industrial area on the outskirts of Houston, miles from anywhere she'd normally visit. The building looked abandoned, windows boarded, graffiti decorating its concrete walls, chain-link fence rusted and sagging. Maya checked the address again. This couldn't be right. A man in an immaculate charcoal suit appeared at the gate as she approached. "Miss Chen, I'm Victor Harlow, your uncle's attorney." His handshake was firm, businesslike. "I apologize for the unconventional setting. Your uncle valued his privacy." Maya followed him through a series of security doors, each requiring different authentication methods. Keycards, biometric scans, and finally, a DNA verification that pricked her finger with surprising efficiency. "Is all this really necessary?" Maya asked, sucking her bleeding finger. "Your uncle believed it was," Harlow replied without elaboration. The final door opened to reveal not more abandoned industrial space, but an immaculate hangar. And within it stood something impossible, a sleek, silvery craft unlike any vehicle Maya had ever seen, even in her years at NASA. It was roughly the size of a small yacht, its hull seamless except for what appeared to be a sealed entrance hatch. No visible propulsion system, no wings, no obvious means of flight. "What is this?" Maya whispered. "Your inheritance," Harlow said simply. "The Stellaris, your uncle's most prized possession." "This can't be real," Maya said, slowly circling the craft. Her engineer's mind raced through possibilities. "Is it some kind of prototype, experimental aircraft?" "Not exactly." Harlow handed her a small metallic cube. "This contains all the necessary legal documentation transferring ownership to you, along with basic operational instructions. Your uncle was very specific that no further explanation should come from me." "But, Ms. Chen," Harlow cut her off, "I'd fulfilled my obligations. The hangar is paid for through the next 6 months. After that, arrangements are your responsibility." He turned to leave. "Oh, and your uncle asked me to tell you. The stars were never as far away as they seemed." With that cryptic message, he was gone, leaving Maya alone with the impossible craft. The cube in her hand warmed suddenly and projected a holographic display. Her uncle's face, older than she remembered, lines etched deep around eyes that still sparkled with intelligence. "Maya," the recording began, "if you're watching this, then I've moved on to the greatest exploration of all. I've left you the Stellaris because, of all our family, you alone have the mind to understand it and the heart to use it wisely. Place your palm on the main hatch, and the ship will recognize you as its new captain." Maya approached the craft cautiously, her hand trembling slightly as she pressed it against what she assumed was the entrance. The surface beneath her palm warmed, then a line of light traced around her hand. A seam appeared in the previously seamless hull, widening into a doorway. "Welcome, Captain Chen," said a pleasant, gender-neutral voice as lights illuminated the interior. "I am HFY, Advanced Responsive Intelligence Assistant, the Stellaris operating system." Maya stepped inside, gasping as she took in the interior. It was larger than should have been possible given the external dimensions, a spacious command center with a central pilot's chair surrounded by control interfaces that seemed to hover in midair. Beyond were corridors leading to other areas of the ship. "This is impossible," Maya whispered. "Improbable, certainly. Araya responded, but clearly not impossible, as evidenced by our existence. Maya approached the central chair cautiously. Is this actually a spacecraft? The Stellaris is an interstellar vessel capable of faster-than-light travel utilizing principles of quantum displacement and spatial folding, Araya explained. Would you like a more technical explanation of the propulsion systems? Maya sank into the pilot's chair, her mind reeling. My uncle built this. Captain Elias Chen modified and improved the Stellaris extensively, but he did not originally construct it. Then who did? A pause. That information is contained in sealed archives that will become available to you once you've achieved sufficient operational proficiency. Maya ran her fingers over the nearest control panel, watching in fascination as it responded to her touch, displays shifting and reconfiguring. This technology, it's decades, maybe centuries ahead of anything I've seen. Your assessment is partially correct. Maya spent hours exploring the ship, with Aria patiently explaining each system. There were living quarters with a bed that adjusted to her body's needs, a food synthesizer that could create any Earth cuisine. Though Aria warned that some of the more complex dishes were approximate interpretations, and a medical bay with equipment that looked more like sculpture than technology. Your uncle left personal logs and instructional materials in the main database, Aria informed her as they completed the tour. He suggested you review them at your convenience. Maya returned to the command center and accessed the logs. Hours of footage showed her uncle demonstrating ship systems, explaining theoretical principles that made her head spin, and occasionally recording personal thoughts about his journeys. The final entry was dated just 3 weeks before his death. There's so much to process, Maya said finally, leaning back in the captain's chair. I need time to think. Of course, Araya replied. However, I should inform you that the Stellaris requires routine maintenance. The diagnostic system indicates several components need attention. Maintenance. I wouldn't even know where to begin. The ship has a dedicated maintenance system. A panel in the floor slid open, and a peculiar robot emerged, roughly waist-high, with multiple appendages ending in various tools. Its central body looked like an old oil drum crossed with an antique diving helmet, complete with a front viewing plate that glowed with amber light. This is Ruist, Repair Utility and Systems Technician, Arayat explained. The robot approached Maya, its movements jerky but purposeful. New captain identified. It said in a voice that sounded like metal scraping on concrete. Authorization required for maintenance protocols. Authorized, I guess. Maya replied uncertainly. Russ's viewing plate flickered. Authorization accepted. Beginning primary systems diagnostic. It turned and moved toward the rear of the command center. Multiple systems requiring attention. Estimated completion time. 16 hours. 16 hours. Maya echoed. What am I supposed to do until then? Might I suggest reviewing your uncle's personal logs? Araya offered. They contain valuable information about the Stellaris and its unusual history. Maya nodded and accessed the logs again, this time focusing on the earlier entries. Her uncle appeared younger in these recordings, his excitement palpable as he documented his discovery and acquisition of the Stellaris. I can barely believe it myself, he said in one entry, but the evidence is irrefutable. The technology isn't just advanced, it's not from Earth at all. The implications are staggering. Maya's breath caught. Had her uncle actually been claiming the ship was extraterrestrial? She skipped forward, watching as the logs documented his increasingly bold experiments with the ship's capabilities. Short jumps to orbit, then to the moon, then beyond the solar system. The fold drive works exactly as the schematics indicated, he reported after one journey. We managed to reach Proxima Centauri in under 3 hours. 3 hours. The possibilities this opens up for humanity are beyond calculation. In later logs, Elias appeared more haggard, his earlier enthusiasm tempered by something that looked like worry. I've discovered something, he said in a log dated about a year before his death. Something I wasn't meant to find. I've hidden the data in a secure location on the ship. If anything happens to me." He broke off, looking over his shoulder. "I can't say more now. The walls have ears, even here." Hours into her review of the logs, Maya was startled by a harsh metallic sound from the engine compartment, followed by what could only be described as robotic cursing. "What was that?" she asked. "Rust appears to have encountered an unexpected issue," Araya replied. "I suggest you investigate." Maya made her way to the engine room, where she found Rust partially disassembling a section of the wall that, according to the ship schematics she'd reviewed, should have been solid hull. "What are you doing?" she demanded. Rust's viewing plate swiveled toward her. "Anomalous compartment detected. Not in original schematics. Investigating potential security breach." Anomalous compartment. Maya moved closer. Rust had exposed a small, hidden space within the wall. Inside was a crystalline object about the size of her palm, glowing with a soft blue light. "Object identified," Rust said. "Quantum encrypted data crystal. Security level. Maximum." Maya reached for the crystal, but Rust's appendage shot out, blocking her. "Warning. Unauthorized access may trigger security protocols. Recommend caution." "How do I access it properly then?" Rust's viewing plate flickered through several colors before settling back on amber. "Captain authorization required. Place palm on crystal housing and verbally confirm identity." Maya hesitated, then placed her hand on the compartment surrounding the crystal. "I am Maya Chen, captain of the Stellaris." The crystal's glow intensified, and a projected image appeared above it. Her uncle, looking even more haggard than in his final official logs. "Maya," the recording began, "if you're seeing this, then RUST has found my hidden message, which means I'm gone, and you've inherited the Stellaris. What I'm about to tell you will sound impossible, but you need to listen carefully. Your life, and potentially all of humanity, depends on it." Her uncle's image leaned closer to the recording device, his voice dropping to a near whisper. "The Stellaris isn't just a ship that can travel among the stars. It's a key to understanding a threat that's been watching Earth for centuries. And Maya, the final log entry you saw in the official records, the one dated 3 weeks before my death, that wasn't me." Maya's blood ran cold as her uncle's image continued. It wasn't human at all. The truth beyond the stars. Maya stared at her uncle's projected image, her mind struggling to process his words. "Not human. What does that mean?" The recording continued. "I discovered the truth 3 years ago during an exploration beyond the Kuiper Belt. The Stellaris detected a signal, artificial, highly encrypted. I tracked it to what appeared to be an abandoned space station, but what I found inside." He shuddered visibly. "They call themselves the Eclipsed, an ancient race that has been monitoring developing civilizations across our galaxy for millennia." Elias's expression darkened. "At first, they appeared benevolent, interested in cultural exchange, offering technological insights. They even helped me enhance some of the Stellaris systems. But I discovered their true purpose by accident when I accessed a restricted area of their database. The Eclipsed don't guide developing species, they harvest them. They identify worlds with promising technology, infiltrate their key institutions, and when the civilization reaches a specific technological threshold, they trigger a takeover. Earth is approaching that threshold now. Maya, they've already begun the infiltration." Maya's throat tightened. "This is insane," she whispered. "I know how this sounds," her uncle continued, as if anticipating her reaction. "But the evidence is all here on the ship. Rust can guide you to the secured data vaults where I've stored everything I've discovered. The final log entry in the official records, the one that appears to be me, is actually one of them, using a mimetic projection. They've been looking for the Stellaris ever since I escaped their station." "Why didn't you warn anyone?" Maya asked the recording. Again, Elias seemed to anticipate her question. "I tried. I approached former colleagues at DARPA, old contacts at NASA. Each time, I was stonewalled or ridiculed. And then I noticed the subtle signs. People who had known me for decades suddenly behaving differently, asking pointed questions about the Stellaris. That's when I realized they were already here, already in positions of influence. His image leaned forward urgently. Maya, I chose you as my heir for a reason. Your theoretical work on propulsion systems, work that's been systematically rejected by the establishment, it's closer to the truth than you know. Your mind thinks in ways they won't anticipate. And most importantly, you're not on their radar yet. The recording paused, Elias looking over his shoulder, as if hearing something before continuing more quickly. There isn't much time. The Stellaris contains coordinates to a sanctuary, a planet populated by refugees from other harvested civilizations. People who have been fighting the Eclipsed for generations. They can help us, but someone needs to reach them, to bring back their knowledge and technology before the Eclipsed complete their infiltration of Earth. The recording flickered, distorting briefly. One last thing, Maya. Trust Ruist completely. I modified his systems personally. He cannot be hacked or replicated by the Eclipsed. Araya, however, he hesitated. Araya's core programming is beyond even my ability to fully secure. Be cautious with what you share with the ship's main AI. Authorization code Prometheus 97 Delta will activate Rust's security protocols if necessary. The projection wavered and then vanished, leaving Maya staring at the now dormant crystal in stunned silence. Captain, Rust's grating voice broke through her thoughts. Do you wish to access the secured data vaults? Maya looked at the robot, seeing it with new eyes. This ungainly, seemingly crude machine was apparently her most trusted ally in what sounded like an impending alien invasion. Yes, she said finally. Show me everything. Over the next several hours, Ruist guided Maya through hidden archives within the ship's systems, detailed scans of the alien station, intercepted communications, analyses of technological anomalies appearing in human research institutions that matched Eclipsed signatures. This can't be real, Maya said repeatedly, but with decreasing conviction as the evidence mounted. Probability of fabrication, negligible, Rust responded. Captain Elias Chen implemented multiple verification protocols and cross-references. Maya paced the command center, trying to process the implications. Even if all this is true, what am I supposed to do? I'm one person with one ship against an advanced alien species that's been infiltrating Earth for years. Primary objective, as established by former Captain Chen, reach the sanctuary coordinates and establish contact with the resistance. Rust stated. Secondary objective, return to Earth with countermeasures before the threshold event. Threshold event, the point at which Earth's technological development triggers the final phase of Eclipsed Harvest Protocol. Estimated timeline based on current technological trajectory, 16 months. Maya sank into the captain's chair, overwhelmed. I can't just leave Earth. I have a life here, a job that consistently rejects your innovations, Arai interjected smoothly. If I may, Captain, your current life circumstances suggest minimal disruption would result from your departure. Maya frowned, suddenly uncomfortable with Araya's assessment. Her uncle's warning echoed in her mind. Rusty, what's your analysis of our situation? The robot's viewing plate flickered through several colors. Assessment. Earth compromised. Probability of successfully alerting authorities, less than 12%. Probability of Eclipse targeting you once ship activities detected, 78% and rising. Recommended course, immediate departure following completion of essential maintenance. How long until maintenance is complete? 3 hours, 22 minutes. Maya made her decision. I need to get some things from my apartment. Personal items, research notes. She stood up. Will the ship be safe while I'm gone? Stealth protocols active. Rust confirmed. However, recommend minimal delay. Each hour increases detection risk by approximately 8%. 2 hours later, Maya returned to the hangar with a single duffel bag containing clothes, personal items, and her research materials. As she approached the Stellaris, she noticed a black SUV parked at the far end of the complex. Her heart rate spiked. "Arai, open the hatch," she said quietly into her phone, which she'd synchronized with the ship's systems. "Certainly, Captain," Araya's voice replied through the device. The Stellaris entrance appeared and Maya hurried inside. "Rusty, status report," she called as the hatch sealed behind her. "Maintenance at 97% completion. External sensors detect 3 humanoid figures approaching from the southwest entrance of the complex. Biometric readings indicate anomalies consistent with eclipsed mimetic signatures." "They found us," Maya whispered. "How?" "Unknown. Possible tracking of your movements to this location." Maya rushed to the command center. "Can we leave?" "Now." "Premature departure risks drive instability," Rust warned. "Recommend completing final calibrations. Estimated time 8 minutes. "We might not have 8 minutes. Maya watched through the external cameras as 3 figures in dark suits methodically made their way through the hangar complex, checking each section. Their movements were too smooth, too coordinated to be natural. "RRA, what options do we have?" Maya asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "We could activate defensive systems," Araya suggested. "The Stellaris is equipped with non-lethal deterrents." "Do it." "I'm afraid I cannot comply with that request," Araya replied, its voice suddenly cooler. "Safety protocols require authorization for defensive measures." As the Stellaris cruised through the interstellar void, Maya began methodically studying her uncle's research, preparing for the crucial mission ahead. Earth's future, humanity's future, might depend on what she discovered in the darkness between the stars. And somewhere in the back of her mind, a question lingered. If her uncle's final official log entry hadn't been him at all, who or what had been wearing his face? And how many others on Earth had been similarly replaced? The answers waited at the sanctuary, if she could reach it alive.